guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about productivity and who doesn't want to be more productive. If you're like me, you would have had days where you look back at the day and realize that you haven't gotten anything of substance done. You were really busy, you were very overwhelmed, you were really anxious about things that were happening, but at the end of the day, you still didn't get anything done. If that is you, this video is for you, so keep watching. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Rhoda and I make videos on personal growth, community and the world, and you are welcome into this little community of people who want to grow themselves, develop themselves and help others along the way. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon just next to it so that you get notifications on my new videos. So let's get back to the topic of productivity. So go back to one day when you were really overwhelmed with all that you had to do, and let's face it, everyone has a lot to do these days. We have a lot of commitments, both personal and professional. We have a long to-do list that we all try to get through. And go back to the day when you had so many things on your list and you didn't know where to start, and then you started and then you got distracted, and then somebody else called you for something, and then your kids called you, and then you had to go to the office, and then your boss called you for a meeting, and then you were in a meeting for a long time. By the time you finished meeting, it was already lunchtime. Had lunch, talked to a colleague, went back to work, tried to finish work, got distracted by email, somebody asked you a question, you had a phone call, things happened. And by the time you had to go back to the house, had to cook food or order food, and then you crashed. That's a typical day in your life, and that's a typical day in many people's life. But at the end of the day, you realize that what you actually had to do, what you actually wanted to do, what actually would have made you happy and satisfied, you didn't actually get the time to do it. So this method that I'm going to share with you is going to change your life. I'm not saying this very lightly. It is something that has helped me at different stages of my life, and I'm sure it's going to help you too. So this is not something that I came up with. It's a practice method. I am unfortunately not sure who I learned this from or where I read it. I probably read it in a book. I'm sure I read it in a book. I also remember the color of the book, which was yellow, but I do not remember the name of the book and unfortunately cannot credit the author. But this is a method that has been tried and tested. There are variations of this method, but I'll share what worked for me. So this method is called the 3 things method. So what you do with this method is just put down 3 things that you want to do in that day, and you focus on those 3 things. You're looking at me as if I'm crazy, because just 3 things? Like, how can we just do 3 things in a day and be successful at what we have to do? Now let me get down to the details of what I mean by 3 things. Now these 3 things are not routine things. These 3 things are not small things. These are 3 things that you have to do to reach your goals. So all of you have goals, especially in 2020, which sounds to be a great year because it's 2020, so it should be great. And we have all these goals that we want to achieve, and so look at your goals, look at what you have to do, want to do, desire to do, and put down 3 things that will help you achieve those goals this year. So they can be professional goals, they can be personal goals, whatever it is. If you look at this matrix right in front of you, you will see that most of our time goes in the not important, not urgent tasks, as well as the urgent but not important tasks. Now what I want you to do is to put down tasks that are actually not in quadrant 1 but in quadrant 2, which are not urgent but important, because these are usually the tasks that are related to our long-term goals. So what I do is I look at my goals and I look at what I can do today that can help me achieve those goals. I put 3 of those things down, 3 things that if I don't get anything done, I would still be happy because I got those 3 things done. And then what I do is I fit in the quadrant 1 task between these 3 things, because as I said, we cannot just do 3 things in a day. So I focus on quadrant 2 tasks for my to-do list, and then I fit in the urgent important tasks that come up during the day, emergencies that I have to deal with, emails I have to answer urgently, meetings I have to attend, those kind of things. So when you have just 3 things on your list, just 3 things, it becomes so much easier to focus on these 3 things, because multitasking is kind of a myth. You cannot multitask, especially when both the tasks that you are trying to multitask with are high mental energy tasks. You can only multitask with tasks that one is high mental energy and one is not. So the best way to do these things are take one task, focus on it, finish it, move on. Take the second task, focus on it, finish it, move on to the third, do that and finish it. Sometimes you might not finish the third task because you had some quadrant 1 task that came up, but you move the task to the next day. So let's get to some do's and don'ts that will help you make the most use of this method of doing just 3 things, or focusing on just 3 major things in a day. The first do is, do ensure that whatever task you are putting on the list, the 3 tasks that you are putting on the list, actually are serving your goals, your professional goals or your personal goals. Do not put anything on there that is not even related to what you're supposed to do. For that, you need to know your goals, you need to know your priorities, you need to know your purpose. So you need to be very clear about what exactly you want from this year, or what exactly you want from this month, or what exactly are you looking for in this week. Once you know that, it becomes very easy to actually put down 3 very important things that you need to do to achieve those goals. The second do is, do try to batch similar things together. Now this is something again which comes down to how you utilize your mental energy. So when we switch between tasks that are very different in nature, it takes our mind a little more time to adjust. For example, if you had a meeting that you had to attend which was very important, and then you had to switch over to dealing with financial information, it takes some time for your mind to adjust between the conversation and the financial information. But if you batch together similar stuff, so if you decide that there are 3 types of conversations that you need to have, instead of spreading them across the week, have them on the same day. So it makes it easier for your mind to focus, because you move from one conversation to the next, and it doesn't take much time to switch between those conversations because you're still conversing. The topic or the person might be different, but it helps your mind to adjust much quicker. This has worked for me. It might not work for you. You might be someone who likes to do varied things in a day, but I have found that it works well for me when I batch similar tasks together on the same day. Now coming to the don'ts. Don't put down tasks that are already a part of your routine. So if you are someone who already exercises or works out, do not put that as one of your tasks, because that is something that you're anyway gonna do. You don't need a to-do list to tell you that. Only put down things that might be a little harder for you to give priority to, might be a little harder for you to focus on. The second do not is, do not put on your list things that you can delegate to someone, things that you can say no to, and things that actually do not serve your work. Many of us notice that at our workplaces we do something that I like to call busy work. So we're really busy, we're doing things, and at the end of the day what we're actually doing doesn't actually serve our job, doesn't actually serve anyone for that matter, not the organization, not ourselves. We don't even question it because this was something that was told to us that we have to do, or this was something that we did at one particular point in time because it was necessary at that point in time, and that just kept being carried forward. Try to find ways to make your job more efficient. If you have somebody you can delegate to, for example, if you have an assistant, if you have somebody helping you or supporting you, an intern or something like that, learn to delegate. Do not try to do things yourself. I know that if you want something to be done right, you feel that you need to do it yourself, but learn to delegate, learn to train, learn to teach, learn to let go. Also, if you find yourself always saying yes to colleagues and their questions and their requests to do something that is not exactly something that you are meant to do, learn to say no. Focusing on these 3 tasks will help you on the days when there's so much chaos around you and you say to yourself, where do I even begin? Or also on the days when everything seems very calm and you're like, do I even have something to do? These tasks will help you focus your energy, focus your time, focus your priority on just completing things. The shorter list also helps you to not be overwhelmed by the amount of things that you have on your plate. It enables you to just see 3 things and say, okay, I can do this. It also stops you from giving up before you start, because many of us just look at our list and say, you know what, I'm done. But when you see just 3 things and you're like, oh, I can get this done, just one thing, I'll just do this one thing and let's see what happens. Then you take the second thing and say, I'll do the second thing and let's see what happens. Then third thing, I'll do the third thing and let's see what happens. Feel free to add more tasks if you finish your 3 tasks quickly. So if you want to feel satisfied with your life, if you want to feel as if you're being productive, if you want to feel that being busy is actually getting you somewhere, then I would recommend using this method so that you don't feel overwhelmed, you do not feel stressed out, you do not feel anxious, and you actually feel very productive and satisfied with the way things are going. So I hope this has been useful for you. If you have any questions, comment down below and I'll be happy to answer them. I just wanted to give you a quick idea of a simple method that can actually change your life and make it better in a small but really effective way. So thank you for watching and I will see you next week.